Oh, what's going on? It's Sunday, and I know there's a lot of people watching the football game. I don't really watch football. I don't really keep up with the games and the sports and all of that. But I like watch some of the highlights and stuff like that. To be honest with you, that's about it though. But I don't sit down and watch the game religiously or anything like that. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a favor, share this video. Hit the share button on this video. No matter how you're watching this, copy the link, text it to somebody, share it with somebody, because I want to talk about these different events that we're seeing take place. Now, is it not a coincidence? Right? Is it not a coincidence? Or is it a coincidence that we have a Chinese spy balloon coming to the U.S. airspace, travel from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then all of a sudden we start getting a whole bunch of other objects flying around in the sky? And when I first heard about this, I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like thinking, well, there's so many questions, right? And they're not being forthcoming with all the information. Of course, they're never going to be. Y'all remember Roswell? Y'all remember Roswell? They were not forthcoming with Roswell either. Remember that, right? We can't forget about that. Well, it's something that now all of a sudden we have these objects that they're shooting out of the sky all of a sudden, as if are we being invaded? What is it? Is there an invasion that's taking place? What is it? And what's really interesting to me is that they had a press conference just the other day, and they come out and they said, well, we don't know what it is. They said it didn't look like it didn't have a payload. They in the press conference this past, I think it was on Friday with Kirby, he came out and said that it wasn't a balloon, right? They said it wasn't a balloon with a payload. They said they didn't know what it was, but they said it was small, like a small vehicle. That's all that they told us. But now there's been reports saying that, well, there was a payload, and now there's other reports where they're saying it was a balloon. So their story is not. It's leaving so many open questions, right? It's like they can't get their story together. It's like they can't get their act together. And just really quick, so when I see all this stuff, and it makes me think, because, for those of you that watch my videos and those of you that pay attention to anything that I do, and even just elsewhere, I pay attention to everything that's biblical, right? I pay attention to all this stuff, and I always make a connection. Now, sometimes for me, for you may not be, but for me, everything that's happening is biblical. Everything. I include God in every aspect of my life. Every single aspect of my life, I include God. Some people don't want to do that. Some people want to exclude God on this and that, whatever it is, but I don't do that. I can't do that. But anyways, when I have some stuff that I want to share with you, and it's really, some of the stuff is way out there. I can't confirm any of it. Let me just put this out there. It's just, look, I'm just sharing the information with you, right? But it makes me think about, with all this discussion about the stuff that people are seeing in the skies, it makes me think about Acts 2:19, where it says, I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below. Right now, we see these earthquakes that are happening. Just had a major earthquake in Turkey. We got these objects that we're seeing in the heavens, right? It's not just the clouds are considered the heavens, but the heavens is the clouds in space, right? That's what it's referring to, in the heavens when we look up. I'm not saying that this is what it is. It's a question mark. Let me be clear about that too. It's a question mark, but there's nothing wrong with you asking questions. There's nothing wrong with you being kind of curious about all of this, right? We should be curious. Now, let me share some of this stuff with you, because apparently today, just today, they shot down another object. Did you know this? Did you hear about this? Well, if you didn't, you're about to hear about it now. Now, listen to this one, because I'm going to share this one with you, where they're talking about this object that they had up there, and they actually shot this object down. They shot this object down, which is kind of, right, bizarre to me. But just listen to this first one.
Aerial object shot out of the sky by U.S. fighter planes, this time over Michigan's Lake Huron. Good evening, I'm John Scott. The U.S. military confirms now that it shot down an aerial object today. The Lake Huron takedown is the third over North America in as many days, and the fourth since last Saturday. A U.S. official says the object was first detected over Montana yesterday, and that President Biden gave the orders to shoot it down. We're awaiting a press conference from the Pentagon. We will bring that to you live when it begins, expected about 15 minutes from now. Complete coverage tonight.
You hear this, right? So this was maybe an hour ago. So I don't know if the Pentagon has said anything. I haven't seen anything on it yet. Maybe it's going on right now during the football game, right? Maybe it's going on during the football game. I don't know. And so many people, a lot of people actually are saying that this whole thing with the UFOs in the sky, and they're saying these objects, is another distraction from them doing something else that they don't want us to pay attention to, which could very well be the case. And I've said there's really something to this. There's more information to this that they're not allowing us to know. And could it be a distraction? Absolutely, it could be a distraction. We would be naive to believe that it wouldn't be a distraction, right? Because we've known for them to do this in the past. They've done many distractions in the past. It could be a distraction to get us to stop thinking about the Hunter Biden laptop, all the corruption with the Biden crime family. It could be a distraction from, what's happening on our southern border. It could be a distraction about, hey, we're going to World War III. It could be a distraction that, hey, stop talking about the Chinese spy balloon that they allowed across the country. But it's a little too close for that. But maybe they're saying there's other objects other than that's the space balloon. Other than that's the Chinese balloon. Think about it. Oh, there's other objects out there too, and we're taking those down. So you can't just say we ignored the Chinese spy balloon that went from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast before they did anything about it. So they're probably saying, hey, there's other things in the sky too. Well, anyways, here's another one that I want to share with you, and this is one from on MSDNC where they're actually reporting about this other object that they shot down today. I guess what this makes 4.
Breaking news. New information just in on a possible new object spotted in the skies over Michigan. NBC's Julie Sirkin is with us from Capitol Hill. I understand, Julie, Representative Elise Slotkin tweeted about a call that she just got from the Department of Defense. What do you know?
Yeah, Alyssa Slotkin, the representative from Michigan, tweeted a couple minutes ago that she got a call from the Department of Defense saying that our military has an extremely close eye on the object above Lake Huron. We'll know more about what this was in the coming days, but for now, be assured that all parties have been laser focused on it from the moment it traversed our waters. Just in the last couple of 30 seconds or so, Courtney Cubie and I are able to report that this object was seemingly shot down by the U.S. military. We don't know much about this right now, but, quote, U.S. military has decommissioned another object over Lake Huron. This is according to one congressional source and one Department of Defense source as well. Now, look, this would make it the 4th object that the U.S. has shot down in either U.S. airspace or over Canadian airspace in the last couple of days. Really, more than a week since the Chinese surveillance balloon was shot down. This news just coming now, breaking from our team, that apparently a 4th object was now shot down over Michigan, over these lakes. We are also told that this object has not appeared to cause any collateral damage. So these officials suggest this was shot down over a body of water over this lake. So breaking news here coming in the last couple of minutes as Congress continues to have more questions than answers on these objects, and U.S. officials are continuing to expand their radar systems in trying to identify these objects sooner. So we've seen a lot of these in the coming days, and we are bracing potentially for more in the coming days to come.
Now, you know what? They're talking about these objects in the sky, and they're not saying what they are. And what really got under my skin, per se, is that you had Kirby. You know who Kirby is, right? Kirby with the Pentagon. He came out last week and said that, well, we can say that it's not a balloon, but we don't know what it is. It's small, like a vehicle. It's small, the small size of a vehicle. They wouldn't say what it is, right? Would not give any indication what it might be or what it is, or, what the shape of it or anything. And then their story is not lining up. Now, another thing about the object, there's been one report that the object was interfering with the jet fighter's navigational system. It was messing with their controls. This is one report that's come out that when they get close to the object, it was messing up their controls, right? It was messing with them. So the question is what can do that? Because to my understanding, the United States of America has one of the most sophisticated military planes in the world. Probably not, it's up there. It's one of the best, right? So what object can actually interfere? Those of you that are probably, pilots and stuff like that, you could probably answer the question. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a pilot or anything, but I have that question. There's nothing wrong with me asking that question, right? But anyways, I truly believe that they're actually deflecting from everything that is happening because they want us to pay. It's like they're not allowing us to know all the information, like I mentioned. Listen to this one with Shucky Ducky Schumer. When he's asked about the spy balloon, again, let me remind y'all, a spy balloon traveled from the West Coast to the East Coast, and they did nothing about it. They didn't shoot it down, but these so-called UFOs, right? These UFOs, they're shooting them down immediately, and they're not even telling us what they are. So here it is, an unidentified object that they're able to shoot these down, and they're saying that they're just shooting these objects down, but they can't shoot down a balloon. But anyways, listen to what Chuck Schumer says here about the balloon. And this is again, if you ask me, the Chinese government, the CCP, they own and control the Democrats in the United States of America, and probably some Republicans like Mitch McConnell. I'm just saying.
The first balloon, there was a much different rationale, which I think was the appropriate rationale. We got enormous intelligence information from surveilling the balloon as it went over the United States.
Didn't the Chinese get enormous intelligence as well?
Well, they could have been getting it anyway, but we have to know what they're doing.
You hear this? They could have been getting it anyways. Is that not a problem? Then he goes, but we need to know what they're doing. Why do we need to know what they're doing after they gather all the data going from the West Coast to the East Coast? Now, Chuck Schumer just admitted that they did not stop the communications of this balloon to China and them gathering the data. That's exactly what he just said. Listen.
From surveilling the balloon as it went over the United States.
Didn't the Chinese get enormous intelligence as well?
Well, they could have been getting it anyway, but we have to know what they're doing, okay? And we don't know exactly, but
we have to know what they're doing, but we don't know exactly. But we know that they're gathering data. So someone lied. When the military came out and said that they actually prevented them from gathering the data, someone lied. Of course they lied, right? And then we have this one. This is really interesting because this, if I'm not mistaken, this was early this morning or yesterday evening. This was yesterday evening. Listen to this one. Listen to what she says, because see, this is so important how they relay information to the public. Now, I'm not saying it is a UFO or UAP, unidentified phenomenon. I don't know. I haven't seen the thing. But the problem is, and when it comes to the question, is you and I, we start asking these questions and then they start all relaying all these different stories about this, and it doesn't line up. Listen to this.
Some pilots said that they did not understand how this object was actually staying afloat. There was no visible propulsion system. It was very unclear how it was remaining in the air there at about 40,000 feet. So that is part of the reason why the Pentagon has been reluctant to come out and say more about this object until the analysis of the debris can be completed, of course, by the FBI, Jim.
You hear this? My reason for showing this to you is because they're saying that the pilots are coming with conflicting stories. So all the pilots are saying, I see this, I see that. I see this, I see that. Just like a typical UFO sighting, right? The pilots go up in the sky and they see a UFO. They don't know what the object is. They can't describe it. And like I mentioned earlier, there's been reports that it was interfering with their navigations in the jet fighter planes. It's messing with their navigations, and they can't explain it. Right? Everyone has a different story. The news have a different story. These outlets, all of them have a different story. And then you have Karine Jean-Pierre. Karine Jean-Pierre talking about the military, the one in Canada. This was the one yesterday. And what was interesting to me about the one that they did yesterday was that it was in Canada. It was in northern Canada, to my understanding. It was in northern Canada. And this UFO in northern Canada was shot down by a U.S. military plane. And my question is, as soon as I heard about the story, as soon as I saw an article on it, I was asking the question, why in the world is a U.S. military plane shooting down any objects in Canada airspace, in Canadian airspace? Again, maybe you're a jet fighter. Now, the story is, and a lot of people going, well, we're part of NORAD. We're part of NORAD. And that's the reason why the U.S. jet fighter shot it down. But that still doesn't answer my question, right? It doesn't answer my question. My question is, we can be part of NORAD. Okay, no issue, right? My question is, would we ask Canada to shoot down an object over U.S. airspace? I don't think we would ever do that. We would never do that. Why would we ask Canada to shoot down an object over U.S. airspace, but yet the United States of America is shooting down objects over Canada? Are you telling me that when they scrambled the jets to go up and find out what the object was, they said, hey, American, you go up there and find out what it is. We're not going to go up there. Or is it possible that Canada's having issues with their planes? It's just a question I want to know the answer to, though. But listen to this. This is the one. Listen, because even this guy talking to Karine Jean-Pierre, he even brings up the question. And then, of course, she gives a lame excuse. Well, we're part of NORAD, but that doesn't answer the question. Okay, we can be part of, no one's asking, why are we part of NORAD? Are we, no one's asking that question. The question is, why did Canadian planes, why didn't Canada have their Canadian planes shoot this object down and have the U.S. planes be on standby if they need assistance? That's my question. But listen to this.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. The NORAD is part of it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
a pact of nations.
A pact,
okay.
Exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
But still, that doesn't answer my question. And you know what? Some people have this idea like, well, that's not really important. That's not really important. When I first saw this information, I asked the question, why in the world would a U.S. plane shoot down any objects in Canadian airspace? Now, to my understanding, if they were in American airspace, I wouldn't want Canada to shoot down any objects in American airspace unless we need help or assistance. So is it wrong for me to ask that question? I don't think so. Now, let me get on to some of this other stuff, because this is where it gets really bizarre. There's been sightings, this all over social media right now. You can go out there and you can look it up, but I put it all in this one video here. I'm asking you again, hit the share button on this, because what I'm about to show you now are some of the sightings and some of the stuff that's been happening. Just different things, odd and ends. Now, I don't know what it is. I can't confirm what it is, but we get to ask questions. Let me bring this up to your attention too, before I proceed on. Let me bring this to your attention. For those of you that have been following my page for a while, did y'all see the UFO video that I did maybe a month or so ago? I did a video talking about how Congress on Capitol Hill, they were having these discussions about UAPs, unidentified phenomenons, UAPs. I did a whole video talking about it, and I showed how Congress was asking questions, going back and forth. And the main reason, what really grabbed my attention about it, because I can care less if they're talking about UFOs, what grabbed my attention about it is that Congress is actually trying to make it to where if anyone says anything about UFOs that they don't agree with, like you just asking questions, like I'm asking questions here, that they're calling it disinformation. Now, it's just a UFO. I don't know what this is. Do you know what it is? Maybe this is just a plane. I've never seen anything like it. So maybe you know what it is. I don't. I'm just sharing it with you. But look at this. I don't know what the language they're speaking. I think it's over in the Middle East somewhere. But it was just interesting that this thing is flying in the sky like this, and it's causing that in the background. It could just be a rocket, right? But it's not moving extremely fast, from what I can tell. Or maybe it is just really high up. Look at that. Is that not interesting? And there's a lot of people out there walking around and they're looking up at it. Could it just be a jet, plane just, going and just happen to be releasing some fumes or something? I don't know. But it's really peculiar, right? We should be able to ask these questions without being penalized. Now, this one here, this is another one, and I apologize. I think there might be some language in here. I don't know. I can't recall. But listen, look at this one. This one is really strange, right? Watch.
Look at that shit.
Now, again, we have CGI. I can create a video to make it look like UFOs and make it look cheesy and make it look really good, make it look real, just take it, put it in there. I'm not saying that they did this. I don't know. Maybe they did, but it's just really interesting because there's a lot of people on the streets that's looking at this thing, and maybe this all got together and let's just do a video to make everyone believe that we're looking in the sky at something.
Oh, I got it parked for this. Yo, what? No way.
See? Now look, other people are out there. People out there that stand there. And of course, these videos are always poor quality. And I'm not saying it is, okay? But he's showing, look, let me go right here. He's showing other people standing out there. Right? If I can get to it. He's showing other people just out there looking at it. I'm sorry for the quality. It's out of my control. Look at that, showing people out there. And people standing in the street. People are all looking in that direction. Maybe they're all coordinated together. They have us all believe.
No se mueve de ahí.
Maybe that's what it is. It's all elaborate hoax to get everyone to look in the sky here and get all of us to believe that there's something going on here.
Oh my God. No puedo creer.
And you know what? We've all been looking at movies. We've all seen movies. We all have this idea, like, we don't know. A lot of times you don't know what's real and what's not real. And I'm not saying that this is real. Okay. I'm not saying that at all. But with the U.S. shooting objects down over our skies, and they're not telling us what it is, and there's reports that they don't have no idea what it is, and there are reports where they say they can't explain how it's hovering there, and there's multiple instances where it's happening, a fourth one today, right? Other than the spy balloon, there's something going on, right? And maybe it's all a psyop, right? To get us all to be distracted, to get us to look at something else. There's something going on here. Here's another one that I have for you. This one, there's a vehicle going down the road, and this maybe, I'm not sure if this is in California. It kind of looks like California. It really does. It kind of looks like California, but they're making everyone get off to the side of the road, and there's a vehicle that drives by, and it has something on the vehicle. And of course, because of everything that's going on, speculation, suspicions, and even conspiracies all start running rampant out there about what it could possibly be. And here it comes right there. And of course they're going, it's a UFO. It's a UFO. We have no idea. We have no idea what's in there. But again, I'm just showing it to you because the content of this video is about this subject. I don't know what's under there, but it's kind of weird, right? How they're blocking everything off and traveling through there, and it has an odd shape. Right? We don't know. And I have this one here. Now listen to this one. This one where they're talking about the object again. Listen to this.
Interesting. This is kind of unusual that these pilots saw different things, and that is sort of, I guess, adding to the mystery of all this.
Yeah, not even the pilots apparently were really able to identify what they saw. And just to take you back for a sec, on Thursday, the U.S. defense officials sent F-35 fighter jets up to try to figure out what this object was that was flying around near Alaska. Those pilots, we have learned, have given very conflicting accounts of what they actually experienced, with some pilots saying that the object interfered with the plane's sensors, other pilots saying that they didn't really experience that, other pilots saying that when they looked at the object, they could identify no identifiable propulsion system, and they did not know how it was actually staying in the air, cruising at that altitude of about 40,000 feet. So this is all added to the Pentagon's wariness of describing in more detail what this object actually is until they can get more information through the debris that they are recovering right now.
Yeah, here it is. So they're putting it out there saying that we don't know what it is. We don't know how they're hovering. We don't know how it's flying. We don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. And what's really, really interesting to me is what this guy says here. Representative Jim Himes. Listen to what he says. Or is it Himes? Listen to what he says. He's the ranking intelligence committee, right? I guess after what he just said here, he's possibly going to be out of a job. And it's a really short clip. Listen.
And by the way, I have real concerns about why the administration is not being more forthcoming with everything that it knows.
How come they're not being more forthcoming? How come they're not being more forthcoming? Right? That is the question. Why are they not being more forthcoming? What do you think? What do you think? We should be able to ask these questions. And like I mentioned when I first started tonight, it makes me think about what it says in the Bible. And I make the connection with everything in the Bible. Acts 2:19, I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below. We're having these earthquakes taking place. There's just wars and rumors of wars, famine, pestilence, earthquakes, diverse places. The world we live in is not like it was 20 years ago. Of course it's not, right? The technology, everything's already, everything is just, advanced, right? But I truly believe that we're living in the last days. And things are going to get crazier. We're going to start seeing more signs. We're going to start seeing more events take place. We're going to start seeing more wars and rumors of wars. Are going to more earthquakes. It's already been proven that the level of earthquakes have increased, just like a mother with birth pains. All of that has increased. All of that has changed. All of it has changed. Share the video. Share the video. God bless.